in the previous video we looked at the product rule. Now let's look at the quotient rule. So the quotient rule is for taking the derivative of two functions when they are divided by each other. So here is the formula, and it is the top function divided by the bottom, and we take a derivative of the top, keeping the bottom, and then minusing, taking derivative of the bottom, keeping the top, dividing by the bottom squared. There is a short mnemonic device for that, which is low d high minus high d low. The d stands for the derivative, and so this really means we have the bottom function called low, top function called high, and so if we remember the phrase low d high minus high d low over the low squared, we will be able to reproduce this formula on the test. And the way it works is low is the bottom function, that's a g, times the d high, that's a derivative of the high function, that's a high function, derivative of the top, minus high, which is the top function, times the derivative of the bottom, that's a low function, d low, over the bottom squared. So we can also come up with the same formula using a different technique, and we will do that in a different video. One thing to notice is that the top piece of the formula is almost exactly the same as the product rule. The only difference is in the product rule there is a plus, and in the quotient rule there is a minus. So if we simply rewrite the product rule and put minus in between and then divide it by the bottom squared, that's exactly the same as the quotient rule. So let's apply it to an example and see how that works out. So here is an example. We have the low function, the top function, and our rule says we take low, so we copy the low, 3x squared minus 5x plus 8 times derivative of high. So let's just write out what that would look like. We will be taking the derivative of x cubed plus 5. I haven't done the derivative yet, but we will do that in the next step. Then minus high, which is x cubed plus 5, times the derivative of the bottom. Once again, for now I'm only indicating what I'm going to do, and then in the next step I will actually go ahead and take the derivative. And this helps me to keep track of where I am and what needs to be done next. This is useful for people who have a little bit of ADHD, and keeping track of things with different colors allows us to focus our attention better. So even for ourselves, when we practice or do the work on the test, it may be useful to use multiple colors to focus our attention on what needs to be done and what not needs to be done. So 3x squared minus 5x plus 8 is our bottom function squared. At this point, the only thing left to do is for me to actually carry out this derivative operation and then simplify if I'm asked to do that. So here is what we will get. We will have 3x squared, minus 5x plus 8. And then the derivative of x cubed is 3x squared. The derivative of 5 is nothing. Minus x cubed plus 5 times, now here we have the derivative of 3x squared, which is 6x. The derivative of negative 5x is negative 5. The derivative of 8 is 0. And now we copy the bottom piece and we are done. 3x squared minus 5x plus 8 squared, and that's the end. At this point we could multiply through the top and we would be able to simplify, because we have 3x squared times 3x squared, that's x to the fourth. We also have x to the fourth here. 6x times x cubed is x to the fourth, so we'll be able to simplify this. In fact, let's do that. Let's simplify this a little bit, and we will keep the bottom as it is. So if I'm on a test, perhaps my instructor would want a simpler version, so let's go ahead and do that. 3x squared times 3x squared makes 9x to the fourth. 3x squared times negative 5 makes negative 15x to the third. 3x squared times 8 would be 24x to the 2. Now here we have a minus, and we have x cubed times 6x, that's 6x to the fourth. X cubed times negative 5 is negative 5x cubed. 5 times 6x is 30x, and 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. All divided by the same denominator squared, which I will copy in my final answer. All I need to do is distribute and simplify. So 9x fourth minus 15x cubed plus 24x squared minus 6x to the fourth, minus and minus is plus 5x cubed. So all the signs inside are changed. Negative 30x plus 25 divided by the bottom piece squared. Now combining like terms, we have 9x to the fourth with minus 6x to the fourth, which makes 3x to the fourth. Then we have negative 15x cubed and plus 5x cubed, which makes minus 10x cubed. Then we have square term. There is only one piece with a square term, so that's plus 24x squared. There is one term with an x, 30x, one term with a constant, plus 25, and all divided by the bottom component squared, which is 3x squared minus 5x plus 8 squared. And that's a final answer in simplified version. And that's how to use the quotient rule for taking the derivative of a function. And that's it for this video. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.